Welcome back to part 2 of our conversation with Jesse Cole, where he explains firefighter fatigue and what that means for your business, in addition to the importance of bartering. Don't go anywhere. Part 2 is just around the corner.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast
with your host, Thor Conklin.
Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Thor Conklin here. We give you the tricks, the tips, the tools, the strategy, the technology, and the psychology peak performers use in order to get more done and execute at the highest level. If you know what to do but struggle with getting it all done, or simply want to raise your game to the next level, this podcast is for you. Sit back and enjoy. Okay. Now, I'm not quite sure if you came out of the womb like this, or if there was a moment in time, or some sort of auto accident that caused this shift. What caused this? Why the change? Because I can't imagine that you're operating your business, from the very beginning doing this. This one maybe, but I can't. Tell me where you started. How did it come about?
My first day on the job, right out of college, 23 years old, I was fortunate to be a general manager of a baseball team in Gastonia, North Carolina, so right out of Charlotte. And the team had been there for 7 years, but I don't think anyone in Gastonia or the world even knew it. And I'll never forget that first day. I showed up. I found out that the team had averaged less than 200 fans a game. The team had lost over $150,000 a year, and there was only $268 in the bank account. And I was a 23-year-old general manager, and that was my first day, and we had 3 full-time employees. I wasn't able to pay myself for the first couple months. I was able to save a little bit from college. And at that point, I realized, wow, this is as big of a challenge as I could have. So what I did, and I think this is a big part of my book, Define Your Yellow Tux, is you got to first yellow tux yourself. And you got to find a way to stand out yourself. And I think one of the first steps is understanding the problem, which I understood very quickly, that our business that we were in, it wasn't the baseball business. We had to be in another business because no one cared about the baseball business, especially at that level in Gastonia. And the second thing I needed to learn was how could I learn everything possible about the entertainment industry and what I could be the best at. And I call that being a sponge and asking yourself the best question. So I did that. So I literally went to every conference. I was a 23-year-old, the youngest kid, the dumbest person in every room, asking every single question. And I learned very quickly what worked and what didn't. And we tried everything. Thor, we did a flatulence fun night. Literally, we gave away whoopee cushions at the gate and had a farting contest on the field. 400 people showed up. It didn't work. We tried crazy things. We did a dig to China night where we literally buried a one-way ticket to China in the infield dirt and had people dig for it. And they weren't going to get a flight back or even accommodations in China, just a one-way ticket. We tried the craziest things, but that's how we learned. And fortunately, because the team was so poorly positioned and failing so badly that the owner was amazing and gave me every opportunity to try and fail and learn. We had games that started at midnight. I said, let's try a midnight game. No one's coming anyways. So we had a midnight game and turned into the biggest party ever. And imagine being at a baseball game and saying last call, and it's not the 7th inning, but it's 2 a.m. in the morning. It was crazy. But that's how we learn. And you kept just kind of, massaging it. And now at the bigger scale with Savannah is we just came in and now it's like, wow, we are trying to reinvent every day and do crazy, crazy things. We're selling now Dolce & Banana underwear. We're selling banana tighty whities. We have 2 different sizes. One is the big banana with a huge banana, our logo, on the crotch, and the other is the small banana with a tiny banana on the crotch. And they're selling, Thor, they're selling. Obviously, the big banana is selling a lot better than the small banana. But again, when you have this option and people know that's part of your brand, they expect it from us. When the team in Macon, Georgia announced themselves as the Macon Bacon, what do you think we did? We adopted a pig. We brought a pig to the stadium and did a PSA like Sarah McLachlan's video about saving the dogs. We did actually holding a pig and said, save the pigs, stop making bacon. And it went viral. Barstool picked it up and everyone picked it up. So we have this permission now and our fans expect it, but we failed for over a decade trying numerous things that didn't work. That's how we kind of learned it.
I love it. You ought to charge more for the big banana than the small banana because if if they buy the small banana, it's like they're having a tough time already.
You know what? I said that, and my staff vetoed it. I said, guys, the big banana underwear has to be at least 12 or 13 with the small banana 10. They're like, no, yeah. Jesse, you always say keep it simple. And I'm like, you got me in my own principle. All right, we'll keep it simple. But believe me, I think the big banana.
Yeah. I'd charge twice as much. Look, you're a big banana. You can afford it.
Yeah, you got the pride and ego to boot, so might as well.
That's right. That's right.
Exactly.
I spent more for my banana. I love it. I know you've got some thoughts on millennials. Tell us about them.
I think the perception of millennials has changed dramatically. And I think I've seen it. And just to give an example, I'm in my 30s. My wife is in our 30s. And we are by far the elder statesmen in our company. Everyone is between 22 and 26 years old. So I'm living in it. And, a few years ago, what I believed was it was about money. It was I need to be making 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever it is. Now it's so much different. It's about freedom. It's about lifestyle. It's about purpose and making a difference and enjoying what they're doing. It's so much different than it was before. And I've seen it firsthand. The stats are staggering. Literally people in their 20s are leaving a job every 13 months. That is crazy. And now we're in our third year in with the Bananas, and we've had zero turnover. And I'm not saying we're doing something amazing, but I'll tell you, we're giving them complete decision making. We're empowering them. How much are we empowering them? At the end of the season, we let every single person on our staff dictate their own salary. How crazy is that? We literally let them say, hey, whatever you guys think is best, but we're going to hold you accountable and responsible for it. And all of them came to the table with anywhere between 20 and 30% raises. Crazy. But what's happened in the last 4 or 5 months? Our business is up over 200%. You treat them like owners, and you give them the freedom. We don't have any, vacation policy. Whenever they want to take time off, they take time off. During the Christmas holidays, most of them were off for 2 weeks. But they got so much work done in the first 2 weeks of December that they were able to win. And of course, we're going to give them that option. So, I think you got to treat millennials like owners of the company because they're going to want to leave. Everyone wants something new and different and unique unless they feel like they're bought in and they're empowered to do the right thing. And, we've been very fortunate that we've tried a lot of things. Most owners would think we're crazy saying, you let your entire staff dictate their own salaries? Yeah, we did, because at worst, it was a 1-year experiment. Just like all those other experiments we did, at worst, it was one. And, we'd adjust from there. So,
yeah, and I remember when I was working in New York, I was working my way up the ladder. And I remember one thing that my boss told me. He said, you never want to be the most expensive one in the room. You want your boss looking at you and saying, you know what? He's underpaid. She's underpaid. They need more. When you get to the point where you're overpaid and you're the most expensive one sitting in the room, when things aren't going the right way, guess who gets let go first?
100%. And I think you need to also, as an owner, you need to invest in different people than you're used to investing in.
Yeah.
So, for instance, we hired a full-time videographer. So we have a 22-year-old full-time videographer, which for a baseball team, especially one that's seasonal like us, that's unheard of. We're hiring a full-time director of fun, which we're getting unbelievable applicants from, like director of cruises, from people in the movies in LA. I mean, unbelievable applicants that are literally going to run the shows for us year round. And, I think every business should have a videographer and a director of fun. And I think every business, instead of a director of marketing, they should have a director of attention. You create attention, then set up your marketing, as we said that before. So I think people need to look differently than, we need an office manager, we need an account executive. Think about the positions that people actually get excited about. I'll tell you, millennials are loving their opportunity to not only come up with their own titles, like Kiki's our director of first impressions. She came up with that, and that's what she does. She greets everyone, she smiles, she answers the phone and sings. I mean, that's who she is. And I think that's an option to give millennials, that a title is a title. And if they can buy into it and own it and actually come up with their own, it's pretty cool.
I want to call the office now. and just ask around. Who else is there? Who else can I talk to?
Oh, geez, you can talk to anyone on our staff. So Lizzie and Kiki are up in front. My wife is here today. Obviously we're recording before, but we have fun. Here's one of the funniest things. You'll love this. People call and they say, "Can we be put on hold?" And we're like, "Really?" And they're like, "We want to hear your hold music." And this happens once or twice a week. They call to hear again, what do we try to think about the perfect fan experience? So what is our hold music? Ring, 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 banana phone. It's that banana phone song. So people call to hear the hold music. It's just little details. We hired a singer to one of our performers to actually do our voicemail, to Call Me Maybe with Carly Rae Jepsen. It's just, we think of every detail. And again, we're still missing the boat on a lot of things, but why doesn't every company do that? It just seems so simple. Like, make your voicemail fun. Make the person who answers the phone fun. Again, back to your point on professionalism. People don't want professionalism always. They want fun. They want to laugh.
Yeah.
So,
give them what they want.
Yeah, exactly. You got me fired up.
All right. Well, we just started, so we keep going. I know you talk about the firefighter fatigue. I have no idea what that is. Tell us.
I'm impressed if you don't, because I think everybody in business at some point has a point where they go through their day and they're like, you got to be kidding me. All I did today was put out fires. You come in, you have your goals, 3, 5 things, or if you're someone crazy who's got a to-do list all the way down to the bottom of the things you want to get done. And then what happens? you got to put out fires. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about this all the time. He goes, what am I? He goes, I'm a firefighter. Every day, I'll do this interview. He said, I'll do one interview, and then I'll have 16 problems that I need to fix after the interview. And that's what happens to businesses because they're so focused on just trying to fix every little thing that they're actually not letting their employees be a part of it and come up with solutions. One of the best advice I've ever received was from that previous owner of the Gastonia Grizzlies. And this is how he taught me so much. I'd say, Ken, I'm thinking about having the world's largest pillow fight in the middle of the game. Or Ken, I'm thinking about stopping the game and doing this crazy, crazy thing. And he'd be like, Jesse, what do you think? Every single time I asked him for a suggestion, he would say, what do you think? And he taught me how to think and how to come up with my own ideas and solutions. An owner of the company shouldn't have to be putting out fires all day and fixing problems with customers, clients, employees. They need to be working on what's moving the business forward. And I think that's something that when you go through the Find Your Yellow Tux kind of platform that I provide, it's finding what you're the best at, what makes you stand out, and going all in on that. And so few people are doing that right now. So few people are doing what everyone else expects of them, what their clients expect of them, not what they should be doing.
Yeah, literally on my wall, it says, what are your 3 suggestions and which one do you like? And it's about training employees. They come in all the time. If you want to get out of the position of managing people and having everything come through you, you've got to train your team. Your team to think like an owner. And you do 100%. That. And here's the thing. When they first start coming in, it's like, okay, so what are your 3 suggestions? Well, I only have 1. Well, come back when you got 3. Then they come back. I got 2. I can't think of a third. Think of a third. Because 2 are just a dilemma. It's like, come up with a third. And I said, which one do you like? I've never overruled an employee when they've come back because they thought through it. And first of all, I don't even know if I liked one better, if it's even the right way, right? It's just like everybody knows what to do.
Well, and they'll learn from it. It's coming up with that solution, and they'll learn from it. And you know what? Sometimes I let the staff do something that I know won't work. Yeah. Because I want them to, and that's the toughest thing because you want to jump. You're like, well, this is going to cost us money. Yeah. And you know it. I'll turn to my president. I'm like, this is going to cost us money, but I need them to learn that. And I think that's an important lesson. And I want to come back. You said use the word manage, and I think everyone uses it. People want to be led. They don't want to be managed. Yeah. And I mean, think about this. I mean, I'm unemployable. I'm sure you and other people we're unemployable. Ago. Never like, what'd you do today? I was managed 9 to 5. I was pretty well managed. Like, no one wants to be managed. People want to be led. Show them the way and help them find the way, but let them do it. Empower them to do it.
You just talked about some of the best advice you've received. What's some of the worst advice you received? You didn't know it was shitty advice when you got it. You tried it, and then you're like, damn, that was not good.
Oh, geez, it's probably advice I've given myself.
Yeah.
I think everything, you can see both sides. Like, so for instance, what I always talk about when I'm speaking at the end, I always say, as the brilliant philosopher Will Ferrell once said, keep throwing darts at the dartboard, you'll eventually hit the bullseye. And I look at that advice and I'm like, you know what? You got to try things. Like, I have my own podcast. I'm doing all this speaking. I'm running this team. I wrote a book. But then also, you do have to learn to go all in on something that you can truly be the best at. But the question is, you got to try other things before you find it. So the advice that I like, bad advice, I think I look at that as a sense of every advice is hypocritical to a sense. I think the worst advice I get is based on how to run it, how to lead employees or how to manage employees. And also the worst advice is about focusing on your product and not on your customers, as we call them, the fans. So, I just think every advice is hypocritical to an extent. But when people start giving you advice on how you should manage people or how you should focus on your product, I think you should immediately question that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to manage anybody. I have a tough time managing myself. That's a full-time job.
Yeah, good luck. It's funny. I heard the other day, if you don't have a personal assistant, you are them. You are the personal assistant. And I think that's very interesting because that's, again, thing. A lot of us, we're doing so much of the work we shouldn't be doing. And that's firefighting, a little bit like, doing all that. How can you hire a team to help you do other things so you can do what you're the best at?
Yeah, absolutely. If you're listening to this and you don't have somebody helping you part-time, stop. You have my permission to just pause this interview right now and then go find someone. Look, you can find some great people for $10, $12, $15 an hour that will pick up the laundry. I don't cook. I don't clean. I don't take my laundry. At work, people help me with my emails. You got to, if you want to create a business where you can scale it, you've got to get you out of the driver's seat in all the various departments.
And you know, it's great. You can try things too, like internships. That was one of the best things I've learned from this sports industry that they're very good at it, is hiring interns. Almost every one of our employees started as an intern, you know, making whether $1,000 a month, just learning the ins and outs. And more importantly, learning our culture, learning how much we care about the fans. You know, look at interns. You get someone to help you on the side for video. I mean, we have a graphic designer on the side, everything. I mean, there's so many options to get someone to help you part-time that will make a huge difference.
Yeah, or barter with them.
Yes.
You know,
I
could do this. I'm really good at this. I'm not good at that. This takes me a little time. This takes me a lot of time. Barter. Change it up.
You know, I've never paid to have my yellow tux washed, ever. So literally, I've traded to have my yellow tuxedo washed for 6 years now. We've never paid for bananas at our ballpark. We get those traded for free. We've had our business cards traded. You know, there's so many ways that you could think of how to barter to get things at a deal or no cost. And we've been able to do that a lot, especially when we started in Gastonia and we had $0. I was like, I can't afford any of this, but I'll offer you some tickets or some advertising. Every business has something they can offer to barter.
I love it. Everybody's interested in success. However, only a few are really committed to it. What's the difference? Those that are committed are willing to do whatever it takes in order to get their outcome, in order to get their goals. If you're not getting the results you need and want, chances are it's accountability. Who's holding you accountable? I've got a challenge for you. For 1 month, 30 days, and $95, our team will hold you accountable for what you said you were going to get done in that month to get your goals, get your outcomes done. If, at the end of 30 days, you don't like the results or you just didn't like the system, we'll give you your money back. The question is, are you interested or are you committed?
Keep an eye out for part 3 of our interview with Jesse, where he tells us why you should think like a reporter, as well as being the only. What are you the only person doing? See you next time on Peak Performers Podcast.